Hey guys, today I'm going to share with you our complete fireplace makeover from start to finish, what we used, exactly what I did, and the process the whole way through. I couldn't be happier with how it turned out, and I'm excited to share the process with all of you. This is our original oak fireplace. This fireplace is original to the home. This is what I'll be using today, the majority of the things. I am using a color called Cypress Vine by the Bear Marquee line. This is a paint and primer in one. I only needed a small bit of this paint, and honestly, I didn't even use a quarter of this can for this project. I'm also going to be using some crud cutter that gets the gloss off without having to sand. This stuff is a game changer. I have it in my home now constantly. I use it all the time. As with any painting project, we are starting off doing some painter's tape. It's a tedious process, but it has to be done, and when it's done correctly, it saves you a world of time in the end of having to go back and fix things. So we're painter's taping along the wall, along the black part of the fireplace here that I will not be touching today. I wanted to leave the black and gold. I thought it went with the vibe that I'm having in this family room. We are slowly redoing in here, and I am loving everything about it. So I am going ahead and painter's taping this area so that way that it stays nice and black and I don't have any issues having to try to get the paint off. After doing this process, you are going to go in with your crud cutter. This prevents you from having to do any sanding, light sanding, major sanding, any sanding. And all you're going to do is I like to pour a little bit into a throwaway cups here. So I'm just using a red Solo cup. I'm going to soak a rag in it, get the rag nice and wet. And then we're just going to go back at the wood in circular motions when you can. This is a very detailed fireplace. There's a lot of little crevices. So going in a circular motion was not always easy, but nonetheless, it worked just as well. Really getting it in there, going back and forth, making sure every point of which I am going to be painting is covered. Now, at this point, I was just planning on painting the green color on the bottom part here. My husband is making a new mantle, so we are not touching the actual mantle part of this fireplace. And then the top part, I was planning on painting white. Well, I will show you going forward that I loved the green color so much that I decided to go ahead and paint the whole darn thing in the green, and I'm so happy I did. Now, if your fireplace is as kind of detailed and has a lot of this woodworking, you really just want to try your best to get the crud cutter gloss off into these places. You're just basically removing that top layer of gloss, and then you're going to go back at it with a damp cloth and just wipe it down. Nothing crazy here. And then you're going to want to let it dry for about 10 minutes time. I've never had any issues with a little less or a little bit more. It is perfect. You're not even really going to see anything come off, but I'm telling you right now, it works. I am just going over while that part is drying, just wiping all the dust off here. I didn't want anything to kind of fly into my new fresh paint job. So I'm just dusting this all down, getting it nice and clean. It needed it anyway. And like I mentioned, I am leaving all of this for now. I think I'm going to love the way the black and the gold work with the Cypress Vine color. And it does work beautifully. Now, my husband and I do a ton of DIY projects in our home. We love updating our builder grade house. This house was built in the year 2000. We moved in 2013, and we have been updating and renovating ever since. It's really fun. I love taking on projects like this. This is my jam. So we often have a lot of things in the house pertaining to projects. I had a lot of this paint supplies. I had my crud cutter. I have painter's tape on hand. So of course, all of these things will play into your purchases when going into a project like this. But for us, I only had to invest in the paint color and the cost of wood that my husband had to purchase in order to make the mantle. So in both those purchases, we were able to completely transform this fireplace for less than $100. The impact that the transformation makes on our family room is well surpasses the amount of money that we had to put in here. So a tip that I'd like to pass along to you guys is find a paint color that you really enjoy. So I have been using the color Tricorn Black by Sherwin-Williams throughout my home. It is a shade of black that I absolutely love. And I have a gallon of that. I think I've since now bought 2 gallons. But those gallons have gotten me such a far way because I've used it in a lot of places to accent different areas in my home. And I'm saying this because this green color, I love it so much that I actually plan on doing an accent wall with it to the left of the fireplace. And then I also plan on using it throughout other places in my home. So when you're investing in a paint color, it's kind of fun to really love the color that you're investing in and use it in different areas in your house. And then your house just looks that much more custom because you're kind of coordinating things throughout your home and making it flow. My little guy here loves to paint. Anytime I have a paint project going on, he's like, Mommy, where's my paintbrush? How can I help? And I definitely let him do a few little brush strokes there on the right and left side of the fireplace. And he really does a great job. He's actually super helpful. So he's a great little apprentice when I'm doing projects like this. I am going in here with the first coat on this bottom portion of the fireplace here. And I already know that I am going to absolutely love this color. I love green. We, in our first home, redid all our kitchen cabinets in a shade of green. I had walls painted in my house in green. I love green. I've since calmed down with that. I'm definitely geared more towards neutral tones now, but I love pops of color. I really wouldn't be myself if I didn't add them throughout my home. So when I came across this color, I knew kind of the area of green I wanted to be in, but when I was in Home Depot, I was kind of giving everything a look around, and this color really stood out to me, and I'm very happy that I went with it. So now that first coat on the bottom is drying, I am going ahead now and painter's taping around the top portion of our fireplace here. And I have to tell you, I really am not into the woodwork of this fireplace, although it's absolutely beautiful. It kind of wasn't growing with me in my style, but I love it so much now with this color of green. I think it just actually kind of, it's odd. It modernizes it, but in like a vintagey way. I don't know if that makes any sense, but even my husband was like, wow, that color really goes well with the moldings that you have around your fireplace. And I think that this kind of look was a very common kind of late 90s, early 2000s look. So if this is something you have throughout your home, consider painting it in a really like a kind of a striking shade of color. It doesn't have to be green. I can even see this in like a nice kind of majestic darker blue color. I don't know. I just feel like it really plays on the details of the woodwork and modernizes it in a way that I actually love it now. Now that I've done the second coat on the bottom, I am going ahead with that green color up top here. And I'm so happy that I decided to just do the green all the way through. It was even a suggestion of my husband when he came upstairs and was like, wow, that looks really nice. I think we should just go all the way with it. So that's exactly what we're doing here. I am painting in all the crevices. This part up here was definitely the not hard, but just the most tedious. Those little kind of tooth, I call them little teeth, the areas to try to get the paint in, but it was fine. The paint went on like a dream. I was actually a little bit nervous about painting this type of wood, but it was such an easy process that now I'm seriously considering painting our kitchen cabinets. It's something that I've been thinking about doing for a while now. We have a ton of cabinetry in our kitchen, so it's a little overwhelming, but this process actually went so well that I'm excited to really start thinking about doing that in our kitchen. So I am heading to a baseball game this night. So I was really working hard to try to get the 2 coats done. And at this point, we did. I got to my son's game and I am back. And you really want to pull the painter's tape off when your paint is still wet. That is another tip. It just really makes the process of pulling out the tape that much cleaner. I was in a rush, so I did not pull off the painter's tape, and it's fine. It comes off. It's just sometimes that dried on paint wants to stick to it while you're pulling it off, so it just makes it a little less effortless in taking it off, but it's okay. It winded up coming off beautifully, and now this is the next day, and All this needed was 2 coats, and it looks absolutely incredible. My husband went ahead and put the TV back on for the kiddos last night, and I just love everything about this color. So when we were at Home Depot picking out the color, my husband purchased this wood. It is Select Pine, and of course it's going to, you're going to measure your own mantle and see how big of a piece of wood that you need. My husband went ahead and built this box for me, which it's basically what it is. That's going to go right over our mantle. Now, our previous mantle was very thin-lipped. I did not have a lot of area to decorate. I wanted him to go a little bit wider and a little bit further out. So that's exactly what he did for me here. So I'm going ahead now and I am giving it a good sand and I am wiping it down before I go ahead and stain it. And this is one of my absolute favorite stain colors, Early American by Minwax. I've already used it in another project in my home. Again, carrying it through to different areas in our house. And I am just going at it with the stain color. Now, my husband used a wood filler, a white wood filler. This is a tip for you guys so you don't make the same mistake. Of course, you need to use like a brown type of wood filler. We just didn't have any in the house. And he went ahead and used the white, and it's okay. I sand pretty much the majority of it out. But when you use a brown, it just kind of blends in, especially when you're staining. When you're painting, it really doesn't matter as much because you're just going ahead and covering it. But when you're staining, that white wood filler did not want to accept the stain too great. So I had to go back a couple times and sand it down. But we got it to this beautiful color that I absolutely love. And my husband is just going ahead now and nailing in that new mantle right over our old mantle. And it just looks beautiful. I wanted kind of a real wood look. I wanted a raw wood look with a little bit of warmth to it. And this is how it turned out. And it looks absolutely amazing. I couldn't be happier with the transformation. For under $100, we completely transformed the look of this fireplace. And the details in the wood now, I absolutely love. I don't know what it is about it, but you can even see the wood grain coming through the paint. And I love it. And the mantle just looks beautiful, exactly how I wanted it to be, kind of that real wood, raw look. I love putting on YouTube vignettes on my television, and I do not have a frame TV, so I always try to look for these framed pictures on YouTube, and people will come in my house and be like, you got a new picture for above your fireplace? It looks so beautiful. And then I tell them that it's actually just a TV. I'm going to give you a little reminder here of what we started out with. I'm so excited with the transformation. I hope you are too. I hope this motivates you to do a project like this in your house. It could seem overwhelming and daunting at first, but it really is such a game changer and will completely transform the look of your room. Thanks so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
I've been losing sleep, what to do? Could somebody come and take me away? I've been in the deep without you, and I got it in my head night and day. But we are one step